Hello, Internet, and welcome to another Wednesday's Serial. I'm here to talk about Wonder Woman Earth 1. So, after much adulation, Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 1 is out, and this is something of interest to me. I haven't been interested in the Earth 1 books before, kind of a retelling and ultimization of some of the DC characters, but only told through these graphic novels, which is an idea I'm very behind. But the curse of it is that we're needing to see the origin again, and mostly when I heard about this originally, it was with when they did Superman. Then I remember hearing about when they did Batman, and I know they've done others, but they went under the radar for me. And then I remember being very excited when I heard about the talent coming to do this one. Grant Morrison, Yannick Paquette, two great creators, and seeing them collaborate, it's felt right, and they felt like honestly the right kind of talent. Um, Now, in telling Wonder Woman and her origin, especially, I know it seems odd to say that two dudes are the best talent to do it. And maybe there's another artist certainly up to the task, but I think something about Yannick Paquette's characterization and facial structures and whatnot really. I mean, it really shines through here in the way it works with the colors and everything. There's a human element to this that just works throughout the entire book and kind of brings the various elements of man's world and woman's world together. Um, and as far as Grant Morrison being the writer, yes, there is not many a creator who can understand mythos and legacy of where these characters come from on the level that Grant Morrison does. The idea that we could be getting the all-star Wonder Woman in the lines of his all-star Superman would be amazing. This book is not that. This book is very much a retelling of Wonder Woman's origin. And that is where this book isn't as magical as it should be. We all have had the problem of seeing some of these superheroes' origins told one too many times. Batman's probably the most guilty party. But Wonder Woman has a weirder issue where her origin story isn't as cut and dry or as cleanly told as a lot of the other famous ones. Superman, baby, launched to Earth, lands in a Kansas field, raised with truth, justice, and the American way. And then you go from there and you have your Superman stories. Batman, parents shot in an alley, boy takes up a life's mission to fight crime. Wonder Woman, to try to sum it up that cleanly, woman raised by, but maybe not birthed by ancient Greek Amazonians who are on a paradise island, and then when a man crash lands in this woman's paradise, she goes to man's world to escape her home that's a paradise but she views as a prison. And then it's maybe I'm playing that up a little, but it's not as clean of a story, but it's a very compelling idea. It actually allows for a very stark contrast with woman versus man, and that's a timeless, story. You can't get any more primal or have any more dichotomy that could flourish in so many stories beyond that. But what's also really interesting about this is that in this origin story, in this Wonder Woman story, there isn't so much an adversary. It's more about a mother and a daughter coming to terms with coming of age and needing to go beyond home. Um, it, which, in a way, could have been a more telling story. In a way, the way they bring in Etna and her being in college and Deanna being accepted into college in a way is kind of that showing where she is in life and kind of going out. And it's there, but it's not as front and center as it could have been. And it takes what could have actually been a bit more of a powerful parable to kind of twist this origin story we've seen a number of times into something that was a little more concise in a way. So there's that, but at the same time we're getting the action, then we're getting Steve Trevor, and there's a quick twist around that with him being black, and then him talking about how the man has, kind of oppressed and whatnot. And it's about this idea of power, and it's spinning race and gender and all that. And in a certain way, it's a demonization of white men. But we have to come back to the creators on this one and realize it's white dudes who made this. In some ways, that can be sort of a tough pill to swallow, right? Like, this is a product made from the legacy of white dudes, sold to primarily white dudes, reimagined primarily by white dudes, and then once again created and sold primarily to white dudes. Now, I know the comic market has grown, and certainly even within our little community here, there's lots of great takes. I know Reader 1717 put out a review on this book. I'm just going to assume it's great. I get to listen to it soon. I just wanted to, read it fresh and then go back to her review to hear her thoughts. But me too, being a white guy, I also think there's something to be said for that. There's sort of a reverse examination here to say that in especially a comic world, which is hyper masculine and usually hyper violent and whatnot, to kind of demonize some of those aspects, right? To kind of be a counterpoint, a contradiction, a difference of variety, and kind of to show really the strength of Wonder Woman existing in this space is kind of held here in a way that wasn't even shown with Azzarella's run recently, or even Gail Simone's run, or any of the creators that I've enjoyed on Wonder Woman. I'm relatively fresh to the character. But what hurts at the same time is knowing that Wonder Woman is a character that has her origins spun and retold and retold and retold, not as a means of reaching back to the origins to kind of find something to build up, but because she's a character that's had relatively little built up because there's never been quite enough grounding, quite enough, of a rogues gallery or antithesis or idea to kind of have the solid framework that's shaped the Batman mythos or the Superman mythos through time. And so here we get this again, and we get her origin told beautifully, as it rarely is. But the question, the real trick that we haven't seen with Wonder Woman, is if they can spin off this and build from this into something that continues to make this character relevant and interesting. Because I think they do actually have some framework here, but we need to see it. And what kills me is these Earth ones come out super rarely. This one took an immense amount of time to come out from when it was originally pitched, or at least pitched to the public. And by the time we get the second one, we don't get that serialization, that kind of like constant barrage that usually comes with at least a monthly comic. And for that, we don't get kind of the legacy. What I'm hoping, though, is that elements of this and this origin, whereas it's supposed to be otherworldly, Earth 1 versus Earth 2, wherever you want to look at that, is taken with this DC relaunch and pulled forward for once, so we don't have to completely retell our origin again and just push forward and tell great new stories with this character. And maybe part of the truth is we don't need to look for her to have the rogues gallery or the violence or, you know, everything that comes along with the Superman or the Batman or whatever. And really let this be a character that fights, in a lot of ways, the status quo that she is the antithesis to. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pinning a lot of hopes and dreams on this, and it's, you know, it's certainly less of a review, but I don't think there's much to review here. This is a great retelling of a story that's been told and told again, and will be told and told again. And I'm hoping that this one stands out so that it can be told less, and that this incarnation of it can just live on, and that we can build from it, because that's the true joy of these superheroes.